bio. I said, you can do this long one or the short one, but she did both because she's a maximizer, right? Um, but I can relate. I like to do everything extra too. And so I wanted to share a little bit about my experience at Mary Kay with you guys, just so you understand, where I'm coming from and why I'm here. So I started working with Mary Kay probably like 4 years ago, and I was on Sean Key's team. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know the late great Sean Key. And so when I started at Mary Kay, I didn't really have much experience with Mary Kay. I knew of Mary Kay because I'm from Dallas, and basically all I knew was that there was some makeup involved, and if you were really good at it, you got to drive a pink Cadillac. Like aside from that, like that was it, right? And then I came into Mary Kay, and my first day at Mary Kay was seminar. Like literally, that was my very first day. I walked into seminar, and I'm sure you guys have been to seminar. If you haven't been, you've at least heard of it. And walking into a seminar with me and 8,000, 10,000 screaming women, like be careful what you wish for, right? Because it might come true. And so I walked in backstage and I walked up to Sean, like I'll never forget it. I was so overwhelmed, and like it takes a lot to get me intimidated, but I was definitely intimidated. And I walked up to Sean, I'm like, hey dude, like what do you want me to do today? I want to get in here and make an impact. And Sean looks at me in the only way Sean can. He goes, dude, just stay out of the way and try not to get run over today. And, I kind of laughed because I thought he was being funny. And he looked at me and goes, no, seriously. He's like, they're pumped up. And he's like, stay out of the way, try not to get run over. Okay. And so we're walking along backstage, and he's like, hey, go meet that guy over there. And it's, a Mary Kay corporate guy. And he's wearing a suit and he had his coat off, but he's like eating a banana. And I'm like, hey, I'm Kevin. He's like, hey, nice to meet you. And it was wild because he ate this banana for our whole like 10-minute conversation, and it never went away somehow. It's like a movie banana. But as we're talking, he's like, so what are you going to do here? And, I told him, and he didn't really tell me much about him. And he's like, all right, man, well, hope things work out for you here. I was like, yeah, I hope it works out for you too. And I walked off. I'm like, hey, Sean, who was that guy? He seems really nice. He's like, oh, that's David Hull. He's the CEO of Mary Kay. Like, dude, like, why didn't you tell me before I talked to him? That's cool. The CEO is just some dude eating a banana. He was so humble, much less like, approachable when they're eating a banana. And princesses to me at seminar, like, because you're just like phenomenally and you're just floating around. And so I'm talking to this wonderful woman and have no idea who she is. And all I know is she's probably from the Midwest, because she's like, oh yeah, and the pop and the couch and all those great things. And so we get done and I go sit down, and then Sean comes out, the crowd goes wild. The production number comes out, the crowd goes wild. I learned that the crowd goes wild a lot at Mary Kay. And they announced, right, the #1 national in the Diamond Seminar, which I had no idea what that meant. But you know what? Here comes the lady I was just talking to backstage, Lisa Madsen. I was blown away, you guys. The CEO, the #1 national in the Diamond Seminar, whatever that means. I didn't know at the time, but it seemed like a really big deal. And they were so humble. All they wanted to do was talk about me. I'm like, oh my God, this is my favorite subject, right? But it was so cool. And like the way that y'all celebrated them was so cool. And I got home that first day, and my wife's like, so what do you do, babe? I was like, I told you I work for Mary Kay. She goes, yeah, but like, what do you do there? Like, I'll stay away, trying to get over. And like, they were so excited though. I was excited, and it was amazing. And I clapped for like 4 weeks straight, right? All 4 seminars.
Hey, Kevin, I'm going to time out for just a second. You are breaking up and you just froze. So are you still there?
I'm here, if you can hear me.
Okay. Talk
So,
right now.
The one way you win at Mary Kay is by being the most. Right now, I'm talking. Good? No? Good? All right.
Yeah, it breaks up just a little bit every once in a while. Is it breaking up for you guys too? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me try to use my phone personal hotspot. Let me log out and log back in real quick.
Okay. Sorry about that. Hey, everybody. Welcome. How is everybody this morning? Unmute and say hi.
Hey, I'm doing great. It was a
Good.
great session last night. I had so much fun.
I know. We were talking about it. How many of you have like all the foundations on? I do. I had to try it this morning. Yeah, it was so fun. She was so amazing. Any big takeaways from last night? What'd you guys try different?
I want to play with the sticks more. I haven't played with them a whole lot.
Yeah, I
did
did
a little bit of the wedge eyeliner.
Did ya?
A little bit. I just made it a little wider on the outside edge.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's what I tried too this morning.
Kelly, was that you?
You know, these old eyes. Yeah. These old eyes, it's harder to get that, you know, because there's little wrinkles there, but
Hey,
I tried it.
But thank goodness you've been in Mary Kay for like 35 years because, yeah, that helps. Truly.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, it's coming back in, guys.
Yay.
Pray. Okay, Kevin.
Okay, I think I should be good now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. I turned off the Wi-Fi and turned it on. Gosh, I woke up with no heat this morning too. It was like 50 degrees in here. That's roughing it. First world problems. All right, so what I was saying is like, it's so cool at Mary Kay, because the only way you win is by being as much of you as you can be, right? Because I sat there at seminar and I watched Gloria Mayfield Banks, Lisa Madsen, Kathy Hlue. They all got plaques that said $14 million they've earned at Mary Kay. $14 million. Like there was an extra long little plaque on it with so many zeros, right? But the only thing they have in common is they live in their strengths 100%, because Gloria and Lisa couldn't be more different. And it's phenomenal. Same result though, because they're living their truest self, right? And what does that look like? If I don't even know what my genius looks like, how in the world can I use that? And so one of the most important things you'll ever find is what makes you, you. And that's how you create championship performances. And you guys get such, like, you guys hit the Mary Kay lottery coming into like $1 million director unit, right? And not only that, like having a maximizer as your leader with a huge heart, like maximizer means she is an expert at excellence. That's what it means. Like no matter what she's doing, she can develop excellence at it. No matter what other people are doing, she can show them how to do it. And she's phenomenal. I'm talking about Stacy, as you guys know, right? But like, as you know, like she can spot strengths in you that you might not even know you have, or you might not even know that are strengths. And that's what maximizers can do. And she can show you how to develop a massive level of success, because there's like not a lot of $1 million directors, especially that can repeat it. There's the only thing harder than being $1 million director probably is repeating $1 million director performance. Because like once you've done it, then that's the expectation. But you know what's so cool? Once you hit a certain level in life, like it's fairly easy to do it again, even though like there's a lot of work involved, but like, you know, that certainty gives you like such a cool groove of a pathway to get there. And so the first times, the first is usually the worst, right? It's like the first time I rode a bike was definitely the worst I did on it, and I stay on my bike most of the time when I ride now. I've got it down pretty well because I've done it enough. Like anything else, we get better, and success is the same way. The more I go at it, the more I create, the better I get at achieving it. And the success you have in your life is going to be directly proportionally related to the questions that you ask and answer of yourself. And two of the best questions you'll ever ask yourself, no matter what it is you're doing, and whether you're talking about your finances, your spiritual life, your relationship with your spouse, your Mary Kay business, it does not matter. But you must know these two questions answers. What do I want and why do I want it? You have to know that, because if I don't know what I want, how in the world do I know when I get it? How in the world do I know what action to take to move towards it? And then the why is like what gets you out of bed on days when it's hard and you don't feel like getting out of bed. The why is what pushes you through the plateaus. Because anybody can keep going when it's fun and they're winning and they're in a peak. But when you're in the plateau, that's the only time you really get actual growth. And most people fall off in plateaus because they get bored and they think it's hard, right? It's only hard if you say it's hard. Yeah, it might be challenging, but so what? Like anything worth having, is going to create a little friction. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, that's phenomenal news, because those are growing pains. And if I'm growing, that's a very good sign that I'm moving towards, the unknown. And the unknown is the only place we're going to grow. And so, what do you want? What And why do you want it? The two most important questions. However, where most people get into trouble is they let their ego get involved and they say, this is what I want, this is what I want, and this is why, and I want to control everything. So this is how I'm going to do it. When you try to introduce the how, you severely limit your options because you give yourself one way to do it. And so when you create that expectation, if you don't do it that one way, you failed. And if you do, do it that one way, then there's no big win because you did what you expected. So it's important to know what you want and why. And then, you know what? Like, this is the direction I want to go. This is the vision I've got, but I'm open to a better way because you know what? Like, I have finite intelligence, but when I'm open to a better way, infinite intelligence, God, your birthright, he'll work through you and do some amazing stuff. But it's so beautiful when you're in action because you always get immediate feedback. At least if nothing else, at the very least, when I'm in action, I'll get one more way not to do something. But when you're doing nothing, that's the hardest place to be because then your thinking mind kicks in and your thinking mind is, mostly negative and it knows all your secrets and it's going to prove you right if you're sitting there telling yourself you can't. And that causes you to drift. And drifting is when you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but you're not really doing anything. And it's really hard. And man, there's a book by Napoleon Hill who wrote Think and Grow Rich back in the 20s. But this other book that came out, I think in like 2012, like his family put it together after he passed away. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And it's basically like a faux interview with the devil. And the devil talks about how he loves to have us drifting and because we don't do anything productive. And I was like, man, that is really cool the way that they talked about that. And so I hope you guys read that. Actually listen to it, but the devil's got a fun, like spooky voice. So it's somewhat entertaining too. But there's a cool thought that says this, when your why is big enough, the how will emerge. Like, man, that's cool. When your why is big enough, the how will emerge. And so, leave out the how though, because that's control again. And I think that it's so important to pay attention to the words that we use when we talk to other people, of course, but when we talk to ourselves, like, whatever words you're saying to yourself are the seeds your subconscious uses to like grow your life, right? Because whatever reality I'm living in is an expression of the thoughts that I'm identifying with, right? And so it's imperative that I'm putting powerful thoughts in that support the life I want to create on the outside. So when I say, what do I want? That's a dangerous way to approach because want means to be deficient, to lack, I don't want to be deficient. I don't want to lack anything. And so a better word than want is desire. Like, what do you desire? Because desire is a natural longing for. Like, man, I can get behind a natural longing for because I have a natural longing to create a certain level of success because I know the more that I create, that's the more people that I've helped. And that's exciting to me. But, you have to understand like who you are and what drives you, right? And continually go back and ask again because hopefully you're a new version of yourself every day. And so you must make new decisions every day about what you can and can't do. It's not a one-time static decision. I am this, but most people think it is. Well, I'm not a reader. I'm like, okay, people told me that before, right? I'm like, you're not a reader. Like, did you skip kindergarten? Like, well, whenever they teach you that, like, what do you mean you're not a reader? I mean, you just don't. There's a difference, right? I can't and I won't are two different statements. The I won'ts, I won't have anything to do with the I won'ts. The I can'ts, I can work with and I can't because they just lack the knowledge, right? Knowledge I can help with. Attitude, that's like a self, fulfilling prophecy, right? And so really important is she and I can't or she and I won't? Because it's hard to move the I won'ts without, them being bought in on it. And, I was a financial planner for years and it's the same deal, right? It's 100% commission. If you're good, you build a team, you get promoted to director of sales. And, my boss would say it to me multiple times when I get bent out of shape about people. I'm like, dude, why won't they come, Joe? Like this great thing I'm trying to help them with. And he's like, Kevin, if Jesus Christ couldn't save everyone, what makes you think you can? And it just made me so mad when he would say that to me. But I'm like, God, you're so right. Like, why am I taking it so seriously? And so, it's so important to figure out your internal motivations, but also what motivates other people. And one of the best ways I've found to do that is with motivational theory. And motivational theory is this. Motivational theory is talked about a lot in the book Drive by Daniel Pink. And Daniel Pink has a TED Talk on it. He didn't invent this theory, and a lot of other people have talked about it, but I like the way he talks about it if you want to go deeper on this after I introduce you to it. And basically it says this: when autonomy, mastery, and purpose are present in your life, then you're naturally internally motivated. internally motivated to go after whatever it is you desire. And that's autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And I'm gonna put those in the chat box for you guys so you can see it. And then I'm gonna tell you what they mean. There, I'll put those in the chat box if anybody wants to see it. And so really quickly, autonomy is the desire for freedom in your life. You know, I know a lot of people are freedom and choice, like me, right? Tell me what to do. It's the quickest way to get me not to do something. You can ask and I will be happy to help you, but don't tell me what to do. I do not like being forced to do things, right? And, you know, like you guys are leaders, right? And you know that leaders don't like to be told, we like to be asked, right? And so there's a big difference between telling and asking, you know, it's respect and humility. And so then mastery. Mastery is the desire to be creative, to expand and to grow and to develop ourselves. And purpose. Purpose is the desire to contribute to the world. You know, the desire for community, the desire to be part of something bigger than you, the desire for joy, because joy is love expressed, and God is love. John said that in the Bible. So therefore we are love. And so when I'm expressing love, that's community. That's really powerful. And so I want to talk about those three really quickly. And so we'll talk about purposes first. And so people get hung up on purpose a lot. Like, I can't find my purpose, like the golden chalice or whatever I'm supposed to be chasing, like go across the invisible bridge like Indiana Jones. I'm like, whoa, dude, that sounds way too complicated. Like, you don't just have one purpose, you have many purposes. You're a multi-dimensional being. You know, like I have a spiritual purpose, emotional, you know, mental, relationships, all that stuff again, right? Like different purposes for different parts of my life. Oh, and like I have a purpose for this month. I have a purpose for this week. I have a purpose for today, right? And so I'm not limited to just one. And the really cool thing is this, you know, the meaning of life, right, is to find your gifts. But the purpose of life is to give that gift away. And Pablo Picasso said that. I thought that was like such a brilliant statement. I love thinking about that. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. I'll put that in the chat box if y'all want to see that. And Pablo Picasso obviously was, you know, a master at what he did. And there's a funny story about Picasso that I like a lot. He was sitting in a cafe in France or Spain or somewhere, and he was like doodling on a napkin, drinking his espresso, and he got done and he was like going to throw it away or leave or whatever. And a woman came over to him. She said, "Mr. Picasso, can I buy that from you? You know, that napkin you just drew on?" And he looked at her and he goes, "Sure you can, $25,000. And she's like, "What are you talking about? It took you like 5 minutes to do it." He goes, "Yeah, but it took me like 45 years to know how to do that in 5 minutes." Like, wow, man, that's powerful stuff, you know? Like we have so much more to offer. Like we have, you know, our years of experience and knowledge on the earth. That's a massive strength to share with people. And, you know, there's something worth, you know, thinking about is whatever you do easy is probably a strength. And somebody else would probably benefit from knowing how you do it. But we overlook the things we do easily because it's so easy. And so, you know, one of the best purposes of life that I heard a guy say, there's a guy named Jim Quick. He's kind of a learning expert guy. And he was being interviewed on the show. And I said, "Jim, what do you think what's your purpose in life?" And he said this, and it was so cool. And he said it so humbly. He goes, "Growth and giving." And he said, "Growth and giving." He goes, "Well, what do you mean growth and giving?" He goes, "Well, the more I grow, the more I can give. So I want to grow as much as I possibly can so I can give as much as I can." Like, man, if you come at life with that attitude, everything gets better instantly. Growth and giving. And so, you know, like I'm sure at this time of year, a lot of y'all have thought like, you know, about purpose because we get to the end of the calendar year. I know that's not the seminar year, but it's still a good benchmark for us. And, you know, it's like, what do I want? Well, one of the answers that, you know, basically is in every answer is more, right? I want more of something, maybe more relationships, more abundance, more money, you know, whatever, more peace, whatever it is, it's more of something, right? But, you know, do you really know what that more looks like or do you understand? There's a big, massive difference between those two words because I know a lot of stuff, right? But I don't understand like a modicum, you know, being a very small amount. Did I really understand? Like Stacey mentioned that I used to live in Chicago, and before I moved to Chicago from Dallas, lived there my whole life, and you know it's fairly warm there most of the time. It's 30 in the winter, and people are freezing, so like that's my experience, right? And people were like, you know, you moved to Chicago? Like, you know, it gets cold there, right? I heard that like 105 times probably before I moved. And I was like, I know. And then I moved to Chicago, right? And I got there. People, you moved here from Dallas? Like, you know, it gets cold here, right? Like another 105 times I heard it. I'm like, I know. And it was May or March when I moved there, something like that. It snowed in May both times. I'm like, that's unbelievable. Like snow. And then we went through winter. Like the first real winter I went through, we had this Arctic blast one day where it was -41 or something like that with the windshield. And I went downstairs to let my dog out, and we had these like big green pine trees, and like the wind was like howling through, and like we both went out there, and it was like a scary Disney movie out there. It was insane. It was so intense. And I was freaking out. And I think something fell off, and I ran back inside. It felt like burning. And I was like, that was the longest like 5 seconds of my life, right? That's, dude, oh my God. Like after that day, I understand what cold is, right? And oh my gosh, like I definitely understand that it's cold in Chicago now. There's a big difference between me knowing it and understanding it. Whew. So I'm glad to be back in Dallas. But you know what? Definitely understand that. So do you know what you want, or do you understand what you desire? There's a big difference. Because again, if I don't have clarity on what I want, if I don't have clarity on my purpose, then any purpose will do, right? I'm like, oh, cool. What are you working on? That looks like fun. Oh, well, maybe I'll be a talk show host. That looks cool. It's like whatever floats across your screen becomes a new purpose, right? And like, if you, God bless you, if you're like me and you have Activator, you're gonna do something about it. And you're like activating all over the place. And you got like 14 projects that are like started, but that's about it, right? And then you get in your head because you know you're giving away your power, and you know you're playing smaller than He created you. But like once you create that clarity of purpose and really get clear on understanding why you desire that, that is awareness. And what awareness does, the gift of awareness is the present moment. And in the present moment is the most powerful place you can be, because the present moment is the only place creation or action ever happens, period. Like never have I ever been to the future. Has anybody else? Like rhetorical question. Nobody's ever been to the future that I know, right? Or the past. Like it happened, and the future is gonna happen, but the future is just a series of present moments. But if I'm constantly thinking about what may be in the future, that creates anxiety. If I'm constantly thinking about the past and feeling guilty about stuff that already happened, well, that's ego, and that creates depression, right? Because like I can't do anything about it. There's lots of things that happened in the past that I wish wouldn't have, like the Civil War, Vietnam, right? But I don't sit around feeling bad about it. I'm like, man, that sucks that it happened, but you know what? Like, what can we learn from that? That's what memory is for, is to enlighten, not to like stop, not to prove me right about why I can't. Anybody know that person? Like, no matter what you say, it's like they're an attorney trying to fight you on why they can't prove their case. Like, dude, if you spent like a quarter of the energy just taking action on what you want, is, you know, versus all this stuff about why you can't, you'd have everything you wanted in your life. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. Like, okay, cool. You know, I love it. I used to be the same way in my 20s. You know how men are, right? From like 15 to 30, it's right. Huge ego, no self-esteem. Look at me, but not too close, right? I don't want you to see what's really going on in here. But you know what you do to get past that? The 3 best words you'll ever learn to put together. I don't know. Boom. That's humility. I don't know. Because I don't know means, you know what? I don't know. I'm willing to find a better way. I don't know. That's okay to say. I didn't understand that was okay to say. It took me 15 years to learn that. But most powerful 3 words. Because once you get on purpose, the natural byproduct of working on purpose is more confidence. And it's so beautiful because then you get into mastery, and then you get to expand and grow. And when you get like a tool like Strength Finders, which I'm sure Stacy's introduced y'all to, that's your natural energy, your natural genius, your natural sources of, you know, the good stuff that you're going to bring to the world that only you can bring in only the way you can. And that's how you create quantum leaps in your performance, is living in your strengths, because that's where you create love, right? Like when you love what you do and do what you love, it is so attractive to other people. And it's so easy, like, oh my gosh, because then you're doing what you were designed for. And it's so much fun to be on purpose because it feels really good. And you know, one of the ways that you can know pretty quickly whether you're on purpose or off is like, am I busy or am I productive? There's a big difference between the two, because I've been busy lots of times, and that's like hyperactivity, right? Well, you know, like through sheer effort, I will outwork everyone else. And that way I don't have to really strategically think or do the things I don't want to do, right? I'll send 300 emails today versus making like 40 calls because I don't want to make the calls, right? You know, I did that a long time ago when I worked in software sales. And the day I started making the calls, I got so much better. I worked about half as much and I made about 4 times as much. What's the one thing you're not doing that you know you need to be doing? Like, that's where you're going to find the 10x, right? That's where I found it. It's like the one thing I knew that I should be doing that I wasn't doing. You know, another way to say it, what's the scariest thing that you keep putting off in your life? Do that. There's a reason, there's energy around it. And it's okay to be afraid when you do things, because that's courage. When you do things that you're afraid of, no problem, man. Courage is powerful. And the last of our intrinsic motivators, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, is autonomy. And autonomy is a desire for freedom. You know, freedom to be ourselves, freedom to do what we want to do when we want to do it. That doesn't mean I sit around watching Matlock reruns all day long, eating Totino's pizza, right? You know, that would be fun, probably. I love Matlock, but you know, that's not freedom. Freedom is, you know, working with people that I want to work with, you know, creating the way I want to create. That's freedom. And leadership, you know, leadership's about making decisions, right? Not about telling people what to do, not about pulling the lever all day long, because when I tell people what to do all day long, or you know, do the job myself all day long versus, you know, making decisions like a leader, that's force or control by another name. And it's just not sustainable. There's no power in force. And it works till it doesn't. And so that's where the, you know, release comes in, let go and allow by saying, I don't know. And what do you think? You know, when I started at Mary Kay, Sean Key had been there for almost 30 years, and he asked me questions my first day. He sat in the back of the room the first time I gave a speech, and he didn't give me any instruction. I go, hey, what do you want me to talk about? He goes, I don't know, you tell me. I was like, well, you worked here for 30 years, man. I've worked here for like 3 seconds. I just got my badge and my gun, you know? And he's like, just let's see what you got. Like, he goes, I didn't hire you so I could tell you what to do. I hired you so you could show me what you can do. I was like, well, I feel really empowered and scared at the same time, but that's leadership. When you can inspire and empower people, that's a winning coaching conversation, because he inspired me. I saw something differently in myself, inspiration, and then he empowered me with the knowledge of what I needed to do. He's like, go up there and be you. It was so inspiring and empowering. Like I could still feel it 4 years ago, and it's still giving me energy all through my body. That's influence. When you can influence people through time, right? 4 years ago, and it's still influencing me. That's powerful. So there's a idea I want to share with you guys. So in physics, in quantum physics, right? We're going deep here. In quantum physics, there's a branch of quantum physics called quantum mechanics. And quantum mechanics says this, that if you can picture something in your head, the simple fact that says that you can picture it means it is possible. It creates the probability in the universe that it can happen when you picture something in your head. Period. Said differently, if God paints it on your heart, the reason he's painting it on your heart is because it's familiar and that's part of your home. That's part of you. That's why it feels good. And the reason you're attracted to it is because you can do that same thing. There's just some things that need to happen first. So when you see people on stage and they say something inspiring, or being on stage is inspiring to you, or whatever it is, you know, there's a reason you're getting that feeling, because it's familiar and it's home, right? And we always like our own kind. So like, ooh, yeah, that's like me, right? I like to talk like that. And it's exciting. And it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, a child, man, kids are the best teachers because they don't have, you know, a lot of filter or bias added in yet. You know, we get that to them later, because, you know, it's like 2 to 6 years old is the most crucial time for kids, because they're in that theta state, theta brainwaves, right? Theta is when you're being hypnotized or when you're dreaming. And that's where kids' brainwaves are from 2 to 6 years old, right? And they're phenomenal learners because of that. But it's really important they're learning the right things, right? Because think about how many people you know that still operate on childhood beliefs. They're like, man, she acts like a kid, like, because she has that mentality of an 8-year-old or whatever it is. You know, she learned this thing and it's become so familiar to her, she thinks that's who she is. That's not who you are. Like, none of us are anything. All we are is love, like God. That's what we are. And then, like, we have different things about us, but your thinking mind is about that much of your total being. That's about how much it is. It's a fraction of who you really are. But people identify with the thoughts because it's so close and familiar. This is who I am. This is what I think. Like, dude, sometimes it's just a thought, because I guarantee you, you haven't acted on every thought you've ever had. Like, if you did, a lot of y'all would probably be locked up somewhere. Like, I know I would, right? Like, I've been sideways with people in my life. I'm like, man, I'd like to see a refrigerator fall on him. But God bless him. I hope everything works out. But you know what, guys? Like, Strength Finders is one of the greatest gifts you have. I don't know if you guys have taken that yet or not, but I would highly, highly recommend that. Stacy knows a lot about it too. And maybe we could get together and do something in the future. But if you haven't leveraged that, Strength Finder is your natural genius, you guys. And that'll take care of that expansion part of the mastery. And whenever I was a little kid, I went to this tiger preserve, which I didn't know they weren't cool when it was the 80s. Like, anyways, and they had the Exxon tiger there. And if you were alive in the 80s, the Exxon tiger was like I don't know, the brand ambassador for Exxon, like this big, beautiful Bengal tiger. They had him all the commercials. And he lived in the sanctuary. And I went to visit him. And I was pretty young, but I remember being really sad when I was there because the energy was so bad, and it was just depressing because this guy's in a cage, and it was like a big cage, but it had this like faux wall in the back. And the Exxon tiger, and there was like 4 others, and he was way bigger than all the rest, like the king of the tigers. And he was laying on the back of this like faux rock wall, and he had his like paw on the ceiling, and he looked so bored, like his tongue's like almost hanging out of his mouth. He was so apathetic. And when I think about him and I think about autonomy, mastery, and purpose, what we just talked about, he had zero internal motivation because he didn't have any freedom. So he didn't have autonomy. He didn't have any mastery because he didn't get to explore and be creative. Like, he didn't have to hunt for food. They shove it in the door, right? Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. No freedom. He wasn't getting to grow. And he definitely didn't have a purpose. He didn't have any joy. And so he was robbed of all his internal motivation. Therefore, he laid on a rock. Like, that's a sad story, but it makes a great point about what we're talking about. If you don't have autonomy, mastery, and purpose in your life, how can you bring that in? Because it's really important that you have freedom, that you're constantly growing and expanding, and you're finding joy in what you do. Because, life's meant to be fun. If we're not having fun, what's the point, man? Because joy is the way you get the peace too. And I don't know about you, but peace is, I think, what we all want. I know it's what I want. I love peace because in the peace, I find stillness, and in stillness is where I find him. Because Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick, such a brilliant quote. He said, God's only voice is silence. A lot of y'all probably talk to God all day long. I do. I pray all the time, right? But when you're still and you're quiet, you listen to him. Which one's more powerful? Talking to infinite intelligence or listening to infinite intelligence? Like, man, I already know everything I know. It's when I listen that I gain wisdom. Very rarely do I gain wisdom when my mouth is moving. So I love this thought right here. I want to share this story with you, and I'd love to hear if you guys have questions or want clarity on anything. There was a woman named Florence Chadwick. What a great name. I think it was the 60s, maybe. She was like a ultra distance swimmer, and she wanted to swim from the coast of California to Catalina Island, which is, I think, 20 something miles, like a good swim in rough water, right? And so she set out, and it was the 60s. There's no GPS or anything. Like, they had like a little rowboat with her, and it was really foggy that day. And so she swam for like hours. And finally she couldn't do it anymore because it's so foggy. She like couldn't see where she was going. And she just got back in the boat. She was devastated because she had trained for, a really long time for this race and said she was going to do it, and she didn't. And she got in the boat and she found out she was like 200 yards from the shore. She had almost made it, but she just gave up right at the end. And like, oh, so she went back a year later because she was, a champion, and she crushed it. And she did it like faster than the time before, no problems. And she did it. She hit the beach or, whatever's on the island. And there was like a reporter waiting there. And he's like, so, what was different this time? How did you do it? And she said, well, this time I got in a boat before the swim. I went over to Catalina Island. I looked exactly on the shore where I was going to land. And I pictured that the whole time I was swimming. I had that vision of the shoreline in my head. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly why. I knew exactly where I was going. And I got there. Like, so powerful, you guys. When you have a clear vision of what you desire, like, you will start moving at warp speed, but you have to understand there's a big difference. And then if someone were to ask you, hey, what do you desire? And you can't answer it really succinctly in like a sentence or two at most, then you probably don't understand it very well yourself. Because if you can't explain it to somebody else, you don't understand it. You might know it, like, yeah, I kind of want this. Okay, why? Because a lot of other people want it, like, okay, that's cool, man. But what's that going to create in your life that you don't have now? It's about powerful questions. And so, one of the best questions you can ask yourself, like, if I were to 10x my business this year, and 10x not necessarily an analytical specific number, but 10x more of an idea. Like if I were to like quantum leap in my business and just do something that amazed me towards the direction that I desire, like what would be the scariest thing I would need to do to make that happen? And your answer to that will help you understand pretty well where you're at, because I've had people say, "Oh, I don't know, there's nothing scary. Everything's easy." Like, okay, cool. So how come you don't have all the success you want in your life? And they start talking about other people, and other people do this, and other people do that. BCD, right? You guys know the BCDs, the blamers, the complainers, the defenders. Man, never have I ever wasted more energy than blaming, complaining, and defending, right? Blaming others, complaining about situations, defending my actions. When you get done with that, you can start worrying. If you're into doing stuff that creates nothing in your life, might as well, right? Worrying. It's a big circle, right? Get worried. Worried. What happens? We always get right back where we started, except we're a little bit less energy. We just beat ourselves up in a whole big circle. So does anyone have a question or something that they wanted more clarity on? Or Stacey, would you like me to go deeper or mention anything I haven't yet?
This is good stuff. I would love to have a couple of you unmute, because I know you have comments. Belinda, I know you want to share.
I have a question. Thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate everything that you shared. I couldn't write fast enough. But I do have a question. Right after your story about Picasso, you made a comment about what we do easy. And I think, should you just expound on that just a little bit?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
I wish I had auto unmute when I started talking. That would change my life. So I was kind of leading into strength finders with that because I'm sorry, could you ask that again?
Yes. Right after your story about Picasso, and you said what we do easy, and you want to explain about that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I was leading into strength finders with that. And it's like basically like when you're doing something really simply and effortlessly, and especially if you notice other people don't do it easily, like it's a strength for you. But because we do it so easily, we don't recognize it a lot of times. And like for me, positivity is one of my strengths, right? It's number 2. And like it's positivity is, like, yeah, bringing a good attitude, but it's also good energy. And it's like the energy to start things, right? And like keep people motivated and excited along the way, right? Like it's a powerful strength when used correctly. However, I didn't know that was a strength because I looked around. I'm like, man, everybody else isn't so excited about life. Maybe I should turn that down a little bit. And so then I was like turning it down and like, no, we need more of that. And like, especially in other people too, like, because a lot of people don't realize what they do, they're doing as a strength. Like, and you're like, dude, like I can't do it like that. And so when you recognize it in other people, it's so cool because, as y'all all know, what gets recognized gets improved. Does that answer your question, Belinda?
Yes. Because I know what comes naturally is usually that area that is your strength. And thank you for that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. And that's why Strength Finders is so cool, because it identifies your natural sources of energy. And energy in this instance is like synonymous with the word like life, truth, love, like the truth of you, right? Like your God stuff. And so when you're using all your strengths, you're like lit up like a Christmas tree because it's just good energy. And people, it's amazing. People are like, I don't know what you got, but I want it, right? It's just cool, like a dog wearing sunglasses, right? It's just cool. It's like, I don't know what, yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Andrea.
Hi, thank you so much for being here today. So I need to work on my thinking mind. I a lot of times self-judgment, self-sabotage. What is it that you do to work on that, or how can I improve my thinking mind?
Yeah, well, it's important to realize that sometimes it's just a thought, right? I don't have to believe everything I think. That's really important to tell yourself repeatedly, because I do that. And it's like meditation, so powerful because it teaches you to observe your thoughts, right? And just watch them like clouds floating by. But when you're aware of the present moment, that means you're not in your thinking mind, right? Because anytime you're thinking, you've left the present moment. So what are you thinking about? You're thinking about the past or the future. And when that happens, your subconscious takes over, and your subconscious is like 70% negative. I read that on the internet, so it's true. But like 70% negative, right? And I've seen the number at 90 and 95%, according to psychologists, that 95% of your day is run by the subconscious. 95% of your day is run by this predominantly negative being, right? So I want to be really intentional about staying present, like, and you left the present moment when you're thinking, right? Because the space before thought, that's where all the God stuff lives. That's the real you, right? And it's not like get mad at yourself. It's just, okay, cool. Just bring yourself back to the present every time you leave it. And it's letting go and releasing and allowing. And like, that's a whole nother discussion, but a great book on that is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. If y'all haven't read that, it's phenomenal. It's the best book I've ever read on resistance. And like on Audible, it's like 2.5 hours long. So it's like that. I read it probably 10 times. But that's amazing. Does that answer your question? Great question.
That was a great question.
What was the name of that book again, Kevin? The World or Word?
The War, like WAR, of
Okay.
Art.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Be careful because it's a play on words from an old book called The Art of War from like a long time ago. So you want The War of Art.
By the way, Belinda's number 1 is positivity.
Yeah. Belinda, that's awesome. So the first person I had on my team in finance was number 1, positivity, and it's number 2 for me. Like I said, my boss, she goes, "What do y'all do all day? Just sit in your office and tell each other you're awesome?" I'm like, "Well, we take lunch, right?" Like, so we're so excited. Like, it's cool, man.
That is
Does
great.
anybody else have a question, comment, something?
By the way, that book is by Stephen Pressfield. That'll help.
Yeah, Stephen with a V.
With a V.
I have another comment. So I have achiever in my top 5, and I'm starting to think that it's more busy than productive.
Yeah. Tell me your
So,
top 5, Andrea.
What are mine?
Yeah.
Oh, includer, achiever, woo, learner, and input.
Okay.
And so how can I work on changing busy to productive, or what are some good ideas for that?
I knew a brilliant woman once who suggested doing a list called 6 Most Important Things. I would try that for sure. Because it's really important. I have Achiever too. And there's like this one thing that they have with Achiever is called the whisper of discontent. Like, it's never enough, right? It's like, well, I could do more. Like, even if I did everything, I could do more. And so I need to define before the day starts what the win looks like for the day, right? And when you're doing things, like, always ask yourself this question, like, does this bring me closer to my goals? If the answer is yes, like, okay, should I be the one doing this or should somebody else be doing this? Because if somebody else can do it at least 80% as good as me, then I'm gonna let them do it. Because I need to do what only I can do. That's creation. That's my genius. And it's so important. So on the, I just had a question since I was looking at your strengths. So I had achiever, includer, input, woo. What did I miss?
Learner.
Learner. Oh, wow. So you ever get paralysis by analysis?
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed, so I don't know.
Well, just like, do you have this story in your head? You're like, well, I'll just learn a little more, then I'll get started. Well, I'll just learn a little more, then I'll get started. But you never get started, right? You just keep learning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you have like a ton of books at home too, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you collect anything else?
Oh, in the corners of my house, lots of collections.
Yeah, that's what they call people with input, as the collectors, right? But collecting ideas, collecting information, but especially with learners so high, just important that you set how much I'm going to study this before I start too. And so do you have like a ton of people that you know? Yeah. Like, are you a collector of relationships?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet, dude, with woo and occluder, and oh my gosh, like, what, you'd be a good politician if you wanted to be. Like, shaking hands, kissing babies. Like, people with woo, God bless y'all, man. Like, Belinda and I have positivity. I don't know if you have woo, Belinda. I don't have the woo. So like, y'all are the energy protectors, right? Because y'all want to talk to everybody. And the rest of us are like, tell us who we need to talk to, right? Like, because we can't talk to everybody. It'll just be too much. But y'all are so fun to watch, man. What a cool strength. So how many people on your team do you have, Andrea, that you need to let go?
I'm working on my team. I got a long ways to go.
Do a lot of them need to be not given a 7th and 8th and 10th chance?
Yeah. See, I'm
Yeah.
a teacher, so I try to make those F kids better, you know?
You have includer at number 2. Includers are notorious for dragging dead bodies behind them. They're like, hey man, it's cool. She used to have a pulse, but I haven't seen it in a while, but that doesn't matter. But you know what the
Oh,
cool
yeah.
thing is? When you let go of stuff, you allow room for creation to take place in your life. And so it's amazing, but you got to let go because that's ego. But you can't own it either because you just said, I'm an S, so I do this. That's owning it. It's going to continue to happen, right?
Right.
Thank you for that.
Patty's saying, if you can't say ouch, say amen, right, Patty? I saw you. She's got includer as well.
That's funny. Stacy is a maximizer, and so it's really interesting to see like how developed she is because she does it in such a healthy way. Like I have maximizer too, and so I totally relate to it because if we're not healthy with maximizer, we can be discerning. It's like if you're not amazing, like you don't really exist, and that's the unhealthy maximizer. The healthy maximizer is Stacy. She's like, hey, you guys got talent. Like I'm going to show you how to take it to the next level, and because I want to serve you, not about me. Like what a cool, powerful leader. I mean, as you all know. Stacy, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you want me to? I'm sorry, I can't pull the email you had sent me.
You know what? That's fine because it is 9:48 and I know you have something else and very important to get to. But
Sure.
We so appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. Like he is traveling, you guys, to another retreat. So he's got to be on all day. And he took the time out to meet with us today. And so we so appreciate all that you poured into us. And thank you for reintroducing me to Strength Finders and reintroducing all of us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Stacy. I appreciate it. It was really nice getting to meet all y'all. Hope y'all have a great rest of your event. Hey, Stacy, I have a Strength Finders coaching cheat sheet they can have if they want. But do you want me to offer that to them?
That would be great. And I think you have a link that you wanted to share with them too.
Sure. So if you guys are interested, like I have a new coaching program starting at the end of the month. I go deeper on a lot of stuff we talked about. If you want to text this number, I'll send you guys a coaching cheat sheet for Strength Finders, and I'll put you on my newsletter list so you'll see what's coming up. That'd probably be the simplest way. So the text this number 66866. Put that in the 2 line, like it's the name of the person you're texting. 66866, and then just text the word love to that number, and you'll get a text right back. And it'll ask for your email and your name, and then check your email in like an hour or 2, it should come through. But thanks again, you guys, man. I love being around champions. So that's an easy yes. I'm really grateful for y'all. And thanks for sharing your joy with me. I hope y'all have a beautiful day.
You too, Kevin.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, wow. Okay. I want to hear from a couple of you. Like, what were your biggest takeaways from what he just shared? There was a lot of stuff there in 45 minutes. Would you guys not agree? Yeah. So what were some of the ones that kind of hit you maybe sideways? Kind of powered you up? I know, Belinda, that is such a powerful statement that he said, you know, if it comes naturally, it's probably one of your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
That was
have
hard.
something, Stacy.
Go ahead, Kelly.
So he said, it's okay to say, I don't know. Boy, that hit me right between the eyeballs.
Well, with the learner,
I really struggle with that.
intellection- Yeah, learner and intellection in your top 5, it's hard to say you don't know, right?
Yeah, it's really hard for me.
Yeah.
Really hard for me. So that really struck me. And I'm thinking, I've been working on that and I've been saying it more, but that really hit me, that it really is okay to say that.
It is. Yeah. And people love humility. People love our vulnerability. And so when we say we don't know, you just made a new friend, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Thanks. Great feedback. Donna.
I was on the same page with Belinda. That really hit me, but what really resonated with me was the story about Picasso and what it said to me, because he said this, this is what it said to me when he talked about Picasso, wrote something on a napkin and then somebody asked him for it, and then he gave her a price. And then she's like, well, it didn't take you that long to do it. And he said, well, it took me a long time to get here. Basically, I mean, that's what I heard. It took me a long time to get here. And then he talked about our strengths and stuff like that. And what it said to me is that too often we devalue ourselves. We don't recognize our value. And when we don't recognize our value, this is what was my extra speech. I'll say, my God validating that's what he wants me to understand. When you don't recognize your value, you don't live to your maximum potential. And so I thought that story right there just kind of really resonated with me. And there are things that, like he was talking about, things come easy for you, so we don't see the value of it because it's not a big deal. It's easy for me to compliment people. I do know people who cannot compliment a person. I don't know why. They're not evil people. They're not bad. They just have a hard time just simply saying, hey girl, I love your shoes. They can't say that. But for me, that kind of stuff is really easy. And I know that it makes people feel really good. And sometimes it's the thing that they needed to hear that they had not been hearing somebody say that they're valuable. But anyway, that stuck with me. And that it makes me want to think further about and evaluate, what am I dismissing about myself that really does have value? And I'm dismissing what God has gifted me with.
Okay, we need to talk because you have so much value. Sister, you have so much. Donna, gosh, when you talk, like, people listen. You have no idea. Would you guys all agree? And you have such brilliant questions and you have a brilliant mind. Just stay out of your mind a little bit more often, as you said. But you're amazing. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Fraser.
Well, I like stories. And it was funny as Donna was speaking, and of course, Belinda, it was like probably what resonates with us has something to do with our strength finders and what we gravitate towards. So it's so interesting to me. But what resonated with me was, I love that he said, we don't have just one purpose. We have many purposes in different facets of life. And I was like, duh, yeah. Like, why do we get caught up on this? What is my purpose? The purpose. And I love that he shared that. And then the other thing I really liked is his story about Chicago. And I'm from Chicago, so I totally get that. But knowing what cold is and actually experiencing it, the difference between having that clarity and really understanding what you want just made so much sense to me.
Say that last part again, Mary, because I think I need to hear that.
Well, now I forgot what I just said.
That last statement.
The clarity of knowing what you want. See, I forgot what I said already.
Yeah.
Let me see. And really understanding the desire is how he put it.
Mm-hmm.
Such
that
a big
was powerful.
Difference. Yeah, head knowledge versus like your heart and the experience.
Exactly. So what are you going to do with that information? Curious.
I'm going to go places, Stacy. I'm going to build my team. I'm going to earn the car. I'm going to feel it and do it.
It's you, Mary Fraser. It's you.
I'm doing it.
I'm so excited. Hey, you guys, one of my newer consultants, Chris Nee, is on. And Chris, I would just want you to unmute and say hi to everybody. But while she's unmuting, I'm going to tell you her top 5 are harmony, responsibility, discipline, arranger, and activator. Those are some really good top 5s for this business. So say hi, Chris. And what was your biggest takeaway this morning? Can I put you on the spot?
Sure.
And Chris and I go way, way back, like way back.
Yeah, way back. But
20?
But we're not that old, Stacy.
No, we're not. Mm-mm.
No.
We
I think
when we were babies.
Yeah, I think we go back 30 years, but we're only 26, so.
She's originally from Spencer. Well, I knew her when she lived in Spencer, Iowa, which is where I grew up.
And I just probably shouldn't say that here, but I just ran into somebody else. We were talking about your mom the other day, and somebody from Spencer also knew your mom. So Because I think it's your mom who brought you and I together. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
it's with
anyway,
her- with her, yeah.
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 The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. And he talked growth and giving. And just the whole giving really spoke to me today. It isn't about keeping it. It isn't about finding it. It's all about giving it. And that's giving. Giving is giving love. So in any aspect of life. So that was big.
And with Harmony being number one, that's huge. Like, that is huge. I never would have guessed Harmony was your number one, Chris.
Yeah, my kids there.
Huh? Your
My
kids.
kids there.
So I'm so excited. How many of you are, thank you, Chris, and welcome. How many of you are so excited to like jump a little bit further into understanding Strength Finders this year? Like, I honestly believe I got Patty's yesterday. Thank you so much. Patty unlocked her 34. And so if you've unlocked your 34, I would love that as well. Kelly Hendrick. I would love that as well, because we're really going to jump in. Think about this. If everybody is working in their giftedness, like, we're going to uncover your giftedness, totally uncover how you are wired this year. If we all did that, what an amazing team we would be. And one of the things I'm realizing through Kevin is you do, and I knew this on an intellectual level, but I didn't know this from a heart level. You do not want everybody to be like you. You need the other people around you. Darn, I wanted them all to be like me. But, you really do need the other people around you. You need the eyes and the ears, and you need everybody's strengths coming together to create something way more powerful. So we're going to celebrate your strengths this year. That's what we're going to do. And I'm so excited to do that. So speaking of celebrations, Belinda, you have some people to celebrate right now.
I do. And since I have positivity and woo, I love when you assign this to me. So awesome. Let me just apologize in advance, because I don't always do so well on pronunciation. So charge it to my head and not my heart if I mispronounce your name. But drum roll, please, because I have some amazing opportunities to share and celebrate you today. So I hope I'm starting at the right place. So I am going right off your list, Stacy, and for second quarter stars, is that a good start? Second quarter stars, Diamond, I have Morgan Wadsworth, Jennifer Jorgensen. Congratulations, ladies. That's awesome. Our rubies are Kelly Hendricks. Congratulations, Kelly, and Andrea Foss. Nice job, ladies. And sapphires, I have Adrian, Cindy Pollock. I guess you, Stacy. It says me, Stacy Fowles. Joe Ellen. I have Mary Frazier, I have Patty George, and I have Terry Mitchell. Congratulations, ladies. Nice job, nice job. Now we're going to move on to the 6 months Spark Achievers. So for 6 months, they're Spark Achievers, and they are Cindy Pollock, Morgan Wadsworth, Patty George, Terry Mitchell, and Andrea Foss. Nice job, ladies. Nice job. Awesome, awesome. So I get a chance to talk a little bit about seminar. So we're going to recognize right now anyone who is on target for the Queen of Sales and Princess Court of Sales. And these are amazing rewards. Achievers actually receive on-site recognition when we're there. So I'm saying this for the new people who maybe don't know about this. And they get a choice of some prizes depending on the court. So I'm going to announce today that an on-target Queen of Sales is anyone who has over $20,000 already in retail. And so Andrea Foss, $23,777. Amazing. Awesome job. And Christy has $27,163 already. So before I go into the Princess Court of Sales, which I want to tell you that if you haven't checked your numbers, check your numbers, because there have been so many women that have been so close, and then they took their eye off of the tracking and they missed this award. So making sure the Queen of Sales and the Princess Court of Sales. So now I'm going to do Princess Court of Sales. Drum roll. Oh, Belinda Miller. All right. So I have 19,558. Normally I wouldn't have said my name first. Morgan Wadsworth, $15,751. Cindy Pollock, $13,324. Stacy Faust, $12,553. Terry Mitchell, $11,765. Kelly Hendricks, $11,764. Jennifer Jorgensen, $11,062. And Patty George at $9,973. So make sure you watch. The reports are your friend. You don't want to miss, because you don't want to miss this. And I think Mary Kay said a track number grows. So make sure you're tracking and watching, looking to where that is. So now I want to talk just a little bit about career path and just some recognition of where we are in our career path. We have seniors who have one or two active members on their team. I have a long list. It's Mindy Abendroth, Linda Allen, Bernadette Andre, Teresa Andrea, I'm saying it wrong, Lisa Bunkers, Elena Carruthers, Jeannie Clark, Amy Dalton, Margaret Dasso, Sally DeGuy, Allison Fetter, Mary Frazier, and Erica Hendrick, Nikki Holmes, Jennifer Jorgensen, Amy Labey, Sarah Lucy, Denise Matthews, Virginia McCarthy, Erica Marino, Teresa Ottman, Charlie Wood, Hattie Reed, and Nancy Reynolds. Congratulations, ladies. And our reds are our star team builders. They have 3 or 4 active. Shelby Anderson, Allison Carruthers, Hattie George, Ginger Kruger, Lynn Limberg, and Morgan Wadsworth. So congratulations, ladies. So our team leaders are 5 or 7 active members on their team. Debbie Barkala, sorry, Debbie, Lauren Casali, Ray Huss, Cindy Pollock, Sandy Rhodes, Leanne Schneisler, and Adrian Vanderbilt. So congratulations, team leaders. So now I'm going to move into our new elite team leader. Our new elite team leader is 8 or more active, and then 5 active, and one of them is a red jacket. So this opportunity, did I say that right, Stacy? No. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we've gone back to that 8 active
8.
elite team leader. Yep.
8 active. Okay. So new. So for this, I have Joellen Wiki.
Woohoo!
Joellen, congratulations, Joellen. And then we have reds with red. So we have a red jacket who has red on their team. So Shelby Anderson, who's on Patty George's team.
No,
and
Patty's
Debbie,
on her team. That's why she's a red with the
oh,
red.
that's right. Patty.
Yeah.
That's so Shelby is Patty's daughter.
Yep.
So that's why I got that all mixed up. So, and Debbie Barkala, Lauren Castile.
Lorene Casali. Yeah.
Casali. Okay. So that's all of them. I didn't do too bad. I apologize, but congratulations. Oh, outstanding achievements, ladies. And wow, it's just January. So let's keep going.
That's right.
All right. Hope I didn't miss anything.
Do you have the new Star Consultant prizes for this quarter?
Oh, I do. Oh, you know what?
That's okay.
I share my screen, and you'd have to give me permission and all that stuff.
Oh, we didn't do that. Okay.
Yeah, so.
You know
I
what?
have
So-
my poster right here if you
Oh,
want.
okay. So one of the things that we did when we met a person, that we always looked at the prizes for the new quarter, and we put our name or initials by what we were working toward. So just having that in mind, what you want to work for, and then that way gives you a visual of what you want to achieve, and then you can break that down and determine that's what you want to win. So always it's in touch, so you can always look at those just to see what it is that you're working toward. So that's always a great thing to do. And the other thing that I was going to talk about is that we have consistency, opportunity for us to win at the consistency. I don't have that also, but there's some beautiful prizes. Remember, every month you get to win as a star. And then if you, from January to March, you will actually win an additional prize if you are a star every one of those months. So, and that picture also is available on In Touch. So you want to focus on those things as well. Win. We want to see you win.
Absolutely. Thank you, Belinda.
You're
Woo,
welcome,
congratulations
Stacy.
to all of our winners.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to talk to you guys real briefly, and then I'm going to have Christy come on and give you guys something fun to work on to wrap up this morning. But first of all, I want to talk to you guys about winning in 2021. And I was listening to Brian Buffini. Anybody know who Brian Buffini is? He is a real estate coaching guru, and he's got a podcast, and he's from Ireland. So he's got this really strong brogue, but he's so wise and so funny. And I do love listening to him. And he's got a podcast called Winning in 2021. And I was listening to it the other day in the car, and I'm like, this is what I want to talk about with you guys, because winning really is created from working in your strengths, as Kevin talked about, but it also comes from momentum. So I really am going to encourage all of you, if you haven't yet, to really sit down with your what and why. The sheets that I have gotten back, I want to tell you, are so exciting to me. And each one of us as your directors, we want to know, what are you working for and why do you want it? Because it's so important, Brian talks about this, to have a coach coming alongside you that has a different set of eyes and a different set of ears, and because we don't always see our strengths, you guys. We just don't. But listen, because other people recognize your strengths. And so it's important to have a coach on your side. So when you have a minute, go ahead and fill those out, send them into your director. We want to have, a new year, 2021, winning in 2021 appointment with you guys to really get you off to a great start this year. And first of all, give yourself some grace right now, because one of the things that Brian talked about is in 2020, the world lost momentum, not just individuals, the world. We were taken by surprise collectively. And so when one person loses momentum, another person loses momentum, pretty soon everybody loses momentum. And so it's important to really realize that, we were taken by surprise a little bit last year. And so if you didn't reach your goals, please understand, a lot of people didn't reach your goals. Yes, we learned a lot of great stuff, but we also had a lot of great losses. And by the way, I'm just going to throw this in here because I want you guys to know that the losses, they are continuing, but it's not the beginning where it surprises us. But I do want to share with you guys that is Elena on here? Elena did find out she battled colon cancer last year and won the first round, but they did find some cancer in her lungs this last week. And so she's got another battle. And you guys, we created a Voxer group for each one of our units. And so I'm going to send you guys Elena's address. If you want to shoot her a card, that would be great. And then I just found out last night, Mindy Slaybaugh. How many of you know Mindy Slaybaugh? Mindy Slaybaugh's husband passed away Wednesday, 50 years old, COVID. surprise. So, we're still dealing with some losses. But as Kevin talked about, those of you with positivity, we need you now more than ever. Like the world needs your gifts now more than ever. So just give yourself a little bit of grace. One of my good friends, Catherine Longley, sent this to me. And I'm going to put this also in the Voxer group. Oh, by the way, it is her birthday today. Thank you, Cindy. It's Elena's birthday today. So if you want to reach out to her and wish her happy birthday, that'd be great on Facebook or wherever. But dear self in 2021, take a step back and breathe. Take a deep breath, stop stressing, stop worrying, get yourself together and do that you said you would do. And I thought, that's really good advice, really good advice. Just take a deep breath. Don't give yourself some grace. And then let's look at moving forward. So we've lost momentum. I want to talk a little bit about the power of momentum and how to create momentum again. And so the power of momentum, Christy, you're going to love this. So Christy got a Peloton last year. I did not know what Peloton meant. Did you guys know what Peloton meant? It actually means a ball of energy. Peloton. And they use it a lot in bike races, like the Tour de France. A Peloton is a bunch of bikes all balled up. And when bikes ball up together, they actually create more energy and more momentum forward. So think about this. I just want you guys to visualize this. When we are collectively working in our strengths this year, each one of us winning, reaching goals together, it literally creates this energy, this ball of energy, this peloton of energy, where all of us can be way more successful because we're successful together. Is that not an exciting picture when you think about it? Like when you create your momentum and Donna creates hers and Andrea creates hers and Kelly creates hers and Patty creates hers, like it creates this combustion of energy. And that to me is more exciting than anything. I want to see every single one of us win this year because together we can do amazing things. We can brighten people's spaces. We can, make people look cute and feel good. And we have so many gifts and talents that we can bring to the table. And that is really exciting. Yes. Plus it's way more fun to win with friends on your side. Thank you, Morgan Wadsworth. I believe that wholeheartedly. And so the power of momentum helps us accomplish more. And it just does. And it helps us to go faster. And when we go faster, we're more efficient. How many of you have been super busy and you had to get efficient, so you just make it happen? And John Maxwell, he says, momentum solves 80% of your problems. How many of you would like to solve 80% of your problems like right now? Give me an amen. Yeah. So momentum solves 80% of your problems. Og Mandino says, action will destroy your procrastination. So if you've been procrastinating, it's just a matter of getting into action. He also said failures live as if they have 1,000 years of life and they put everything off until tomorrow. We don't have 1,000 years, you guys. We just don't. And so action will be the death of your procrastination. Momentum gives you an advantage that puts you into flow. And that's always been my word. I love flow. Do you guys love flow? Do you like things just to go? So that's what I want to share with you guys today. How do you create momentum? Number one, there's 3 things, and I want you guys to write this down. Number 1, initiate. And you want to initiate short-term goals. Like Brian talked about 10-day increments. What do you want to see happen for you in your Mary Kay business in the next 10 days? 10 days. He said, not a year from now, not 10 years from now, because what do we do when we say, you know what, I really like to lose 10 pounds this year? Well, we aren't going to get started until December, right? And we're not even going to start in December because that's the holidays. So we put it off and we put it off and then we forget about it. So what we want to do is initiate right now. Stacey James says, you create momentum with a lot of activity in a short amount of time. And so we're going to give you something today to take a lot of activity in a short amount of time to really rev up your business right now. And it's super easy and it's super fun. And I think you guys are going to love it. So initiate short-term goals, decide what you want to do in the next 10 days. A lot of activity in a short amount of time will create that. Secondly, you do want to have a mid-range goal. And Brian talked about a 10-month goal, because a 10-month goal will keep you going and give you the incentive to stretch. What would you like to see happen for you in the next 10 months? Maybe it's enough money in your bank account to actually take your family on a family vacation. Or maybe it's to earn a car, or become a director, or something else. Like, what is it that lights you up? What do you want to see happen for you in the next 10 months? We're either moving towards or we're moving away. You guys can't stand still in any kind of business. You just can't, because the minute you stand still, you start moving backwards. And so we want to create momentum, and then we want to create flow. And so you create the momentum with this lot of activity in a small amount of time, and you create that flow when you have something that you're looking forward to a little bit farther out. Does that make sense? So it keeps you going. And then last, you want to have long-term goals. And he said, we used to talk about the 10-year plan. It's like, in today's world, we would just want to talk about the next 5 years, because the world is changing so fast. But where would you like to be in the next 5 years? Because the next 5 years gives you the big picture, and the big picture gives you hope. Now, the other thing he talked about is we are wired to be strong in one of these areas and weak in two of these areas. So like one of these, you're either really good at short-term goals, really good at mid-range goals, or really good at long-term big picture goals. And you may not be as great in the other two. So like one's dessert and the other two are discipline, right? And so find out which one you can leverage. Set your goal from that place first. Like, what lights you up the most? Is it the short-term goal? Is it the mid-range goal? Is it the big picture? If it's a big picture, set that goal first, back it down. If it's the short-term goals that light you up, challenge yourself to decide, where do I want this to take me in the next 10 months, in the next 5 years? But you do need all three of these to really keep it going. So again, if you haven't had a chance to really sit down with that what why sheet, I'm going to challenge you guys to do that, like as soon as possible, today, tomorrow. Give yourself some time to just kind of sit back and think about it, because these are the things that will. How many of you got excited when you did it? Like how many? Yeah. Did it just kind of like, oh my gosh, Kelly, will you share just a little bit?
Yes. So I told Stacy when I talked to her about this sheet, I've been around forever. I say that all the time, but this is absolutely the best sheet I have ever tried to fill out. It just made so much sense to me. It was a step-by-step, and I'm not going to lie, I looked at it, read it like 5 days before I wrote anything down. But the questions stuck with me, and it stayed in the back of my mind, which then when I did sit down to write, that just flowed out of me. I knew exactly what I wanted to write down.
That is awesome, Kelly. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Christy. We might go about 5 minutes over. I hope you guys are okay with that. But she has something really amazing that she's going to share. Christy?
Okay, so before I do that, I want to, do you mind if I share what I had told you about my challenges with that sheet, those sheets of Kevin's, Stacy? Okay, so y'all, I had a really hard time with the sheets that for Kevin, okay? Like, what do I desire? Like all the things, right? And so I was really trying to figure out why I was having such a difficult time answering those questions. I know what I want, but what it came down to is I had a difficult time answering those questions because in my head, I needed to answer the questions as if someone was reading my answers over my shoulder. And I was going to be judged for what I wrote down. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, that is seriously what hung me up. And I'm like, wait a second, like, this is a no judgment zone. Like, this is for me. Like, this is what I want. I need to be able to admit this freely to myself. And, you know, like, I just, so if some of you do take a look at those sheets and you are struggling, I hope taking on that different perspective of just truly look at it from what do you truly want? Like, what does your soul tell you you want? There is no judgment. Nobody is going to judge you for writing down what you want. Like, if you want something to be successful, write it down. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't think that there is a set answer for those sheets. Please, Pinky, promise me. Okay. All right. So I get to share with you guys a challenge, and we are going to have prizes. So who loves challenges and who loves prizes? Yes? Okay. So we wanted to give you all an opportunity, and I've been actually working on this myself this week because I think you all know that as directors, we put into practice first to see how it works and try to tweak it before we roll it out to you guys. And so with the new clinical solutions launching very soon, because it will be part of the spring lookbook. And so just a reminder, you ladies have another week to get your customers registered for that lookbook. And that is where we're launching the clinical solutions. But we wanted to give you ladies a challenge and give you an opportunity to reach out to your customers that either currently are on the skincare set or not, to get those that are not on skincare to get them prepared for this clinical solutions launch. And so
potential customers too, right? Not just
yeah. Oh yes, everybody. Absolutely. So this is just another way to grow your business. And so one of the things that you all have heard us say, work full circle, right? Okay, so like y'all have heard the theory, like if you've got two oars, but you're only rowing with one oar, what happens? Are you getting anywhere? You're going in a circle, right? And so with your business, you want to have both oars in the water. So we want to book appointments to sell the product, but we also want to book appointments to team build, right? So that moves us forward towards our goals. And so I'm so excited about this text because we are going to send this to you guys. So we've got an image to send to you guys. We've got a text message to send to you guys so that you guys can reach out a short period of time and work on getting customers booked for our upcoming appointments. And so I believe Stacy's unit has group events on Thursdays. Okay, Thursdays, Belinda.
Saturdays.
Okay. And our unit has them on Mondays and then some Saturdays as well. And so we want to give you an opportunity to reach out to people, give them the opportunity to purchase a skincare set, or if they're not ready to purchase, get samples to them to invite them to participate in one of your unit guest events so that they can try the skincare. And then at that, you all know that the three of us, so Belinda, Stacy, and I are doing the 5-minute marketing. Did y'all know that? So we're doing the 5-minute marketing. Okay, so we're working with that or in the water. We're working on selling, and they will be, so the people that are on skincare and that participate in this challenge for you all, they will have an opportunity to have a special invitation to an exclusive launch party for our clinical solution. So are you guys excited about that? Like, who is excited about this clinical solutions thing? Is anybody as excited as I am? Because I can hardly wait. Like, Y'all, I had to sit on my tongue for 4 months. So, okay. So are you guys, are you wanting to know what the challenge is? Okay, so for those of you, there will be prizes at 5 sets and at 10 sets sold. So skincare sets, and this can be any skincare set. And even clear proof sets count. However, we know that clinical solutions cannot be used with clear proof, right? So a clear proof set counts, okay? And we will also have a special prize for the consultant that sells the most skincare sets from now. Ooh, Stacy's got the bag. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, who needs that bag? Oh my gosh, I want that bag. Okay. Okay. So, so the challenge goes from today until Monday at 6 p.m. All right. So text your director and let her know how many skincare sets you've sold in that time frame. Okay. And then we're going to do some special recognition for you all. So January 11th, not June 11th, January 11th is the deadline. Okay. Stacy, what did I forget?
The exciting script.
Oh, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, I want them to get the gist of what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the script. It just says, Happy New Year. I'm doing some research and could really use your input. Mary Kay has a new and free Skin Analyzer app, and I would love to see what you think of it. Just for helping me out, you get 21% off a skincare set of your choice. Details are in the pic, including an exclusive invite to a new product launch at a virtual beauty bash. Do you have a few minutes to check it out? What do you guys think? So I had a couple of customers reach out to me for bits and pieces of reorders this week, and I used this script and they ended up purchasing the skincare set. They're like, sure, why not? Like, I need skincare. 21% off, that's great. And it sounds easy because I can snap a pic of myself at day 1 and day 21. So they're excited about it as well. So, and then we've got a really great image to send with you guys so that, and it's got the details in there that you can text out to your customers as well. So it's just it says Wash Away 2020, the 21-day skincare challenge. And then it just kind of goes into detail, and we'll send that out to you guys so that you have that. Do you ladies have any questions on your challenge? Morgan? Yeah.
Are there new updated features on the Skin Analyzer app from when they launched it like last summer? Do you know? Because I had a bunch of girls do it then when it was available first time to customers.
I think it would be a good idea for them to repeat because here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to share 2 things that I learned when I was going through the retinization process with our Skin Analyzer app. Okay. 1, even if you save the results, they don't save forever. Did y'all know that? Yeah, so they save only for like 7 days. So when I went back to get my day 1 results, they were completely gone. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is encourage your customers to take a screenshot. Yep, screenshot their results. And have you all used the app? Okay, so the results that I'm talking about that I wanted to save for myself are, you know how it says like skin tone, you know, and it's got your visual analog scale, and then it's got like your little, you know, like your indicator on where you're at. That's what I wanted to save. Yes, that, Morgan. And it goes through like skin tone, texture, fine, you know, all the things, right? I would still encourage them to commit to doing this with utilizing their skincare set as it is to be used for 21 days. Okay? Because I think that they'll notice a difference but also now they're going to have a baseline before they introduce clinical solutions, and they're going to be mind blown when they introduce the clinical solutions. So those customers that are not on Mary Kay Skincare, y'all, this is going to be a great tool to get them on the skincare, because it literally it gives them their skincare prescription, right? So now they actually have data that can be tracked, right, to see their progress over the first 21 days, and then they can utilize it again as they go through the retinization process. So I really think that it blows my mind how forward thinking our company is, because I have a feeling that they designed this app so that we could use it for the launch of this clinical solutions.
So basically what you're saying is you're asking your customer to start on Mary Kay, do the analyzer now, use the skincare for 21 days, use the analyzer again, get on the clinical solutions, 21 days, do it again. Like, how exciting is it going to be to see the results people are getting?
Yeah. And I think that is going to sell them on our product, and they will become a customer for life, you guys. Like, how amazing would it be to even have 10 regular skincare customers who utilize, let's say it's 10 repair customers a year utilizing clinical solutions.
Yes, please.
That's amazing, because the repair set is $205. Let's say they go through 3 of them a year, so that's $615, and then they go through the clinical solutions. So let's add another, I don't know, let's bump it to $800 in total that they're spending with you a year times 10. That's $8,000. Your profit at a 60-40 split is $3,200. That was easy, $3,200, right? Like, better than a stimulus package. That's your own stimulus package, right?
And way more fun. I am also going to add in, thank you so much, Christy. I'm also going to add in that if you've got some people that you really want them to take advantage of this, I'd say pick up the phone today, give them a call, check in with them, see how they're doing, and say, hey, I have this really awesome challenge. I just got done with our January Jumpstart, and I just want to tell you about it. Do you have a minute? Like, don't hesitate to pick up the phone for some of these people. I think you're going to get more that way than any other way, because people are so busy right now, so busy and so preoccupied. I know I kicked myself last night because I didn't follow up on any of my guests with a phone call to say, hey, are you able to get on? And so, the text alone doesn't always work, is what I'm saying. So if you've got somebody you really want to get on the skincare and be a part of this challenge, you know who they are. They probably come to your mind right away. Those would be the ones I would pick up the phone for. Good. All right, questions on that. We're going to send out the pic to you and the script. Are you guys excited to have some new customers? Awesome. Awesome. Reach out to your director if you have any questions about anything at all. Like I said earlier, we want more people winning this year. And the more people who win, the more people will win because of the Peloton effect. So we're going for the Peloton effect, Christy.
Awesome. Donna has a question. Donna, can you clarify for me on that? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was just thinking about the Clear Proof, because I have a person who does Clear Proof. They were on the Miracle 3D and they end up going to Clear Proof because they had adult acne. But she's been asking, you remember when I was asking you about those different acids, Christy? She's one who was asking about those different acids because somebody had told her about it. And so I'm thinking that what is it called? The prescription, I don't know what it's called now.
The clinical solutions?
Yeah, clinical solutions. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking she would be a good candidate for that. But I was thinking when we were asking about Facebook.
If she's on ClearProof, she cannot use clinical solutions.
Okay.
because it is contraindicated to use a pure retinol with salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide. And those two active acne ingredients are in our Clear Proof. So I would try to switch her over to a different skincare line if she is wanting to utilize the
Okay. So
solution.
she would just need to switch all over. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I need to know.
Plus, as you said on Tuesday, retinol helps with acne as well.
Yeah.
And Christy, how long would that person need to use the new skincare before she started?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, I definitely think that it would be best to get them on a new skincare set as quickly as possible, because for those of you that were on Tuesday, remember how I said that it's gonna be so much easier to work one-on-one with your customers to find their personalized skincare prescription when we're only introducing like a couple things at a time. So like with that said, introducing a new skincare set, like I would definitely get them on that. And it's probably going to take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks for their skin to kind of stabilize if they haven't been on Mary Kay before, right? Okay, because I have a lot of customers that I get on like the Time Wise 3D who have not been on a strong anti-aging, deep cleaning skincare regimen, and they notice that they do tend to have a bit more breakout than normal because it's really deep cleaning. It's pulling all of the dirt and oil and impurities from the pores. And so it's going to take a few weeks for their skin to level out. And I would make sure that I go through that with them first and educate them on why before we introduce the clinical solutions to their skin. Okay, because if we introduce too many things at once, it muddies the waters and things get convoluted and it makes it difficult to figure out, how to adjust their specific prescription. Does that make sense?
Awesome. All right, anybody else have any last minute questions?
I just have a comment about the clinical solutions. For those who weren't on Tuesday, was that our celebration night? All that information is out on In Touch, and I've watched most of the videos already. The information is awesome that our company gives us. So educate yourself because it's awesome.
It is.
Christy and Stacy and Belinda have given us a ton of information already, but I feel, and this is me overthinking it, of course, but I always want all the knowledge. Like the more we can know about it ourselves, like the better we're going to be able to serve our customers.
For sure. Thank you, Morgan. Donna?
Stacy, I'll just make this one. It's just a comment. Just going back to what he was sharing. The thing that really resonated with me too was when he said that when we hear things, when we read things, or when we're listening to someone and it really kind of just hits us, it's because it's familiar to us. And it's like, to me, it's like a spiritual connection. It's like your spirit connects with that. And it's something that you probably need to do. You need to move in that direction. And one thing that I want to say about you, Stacy, is that you have given so much of what you say really just connects specifically with me. And I listen to, you guys know I'm a Gloria Mayfield Banks fan. She hypes you up. She gives you some serious nuggets. What you do for me, Donna, you do things that touch my heart. That, I mean, there are times when I feel like I'm in church crying. Like sometimes when you're talking, you know how when you're in church, you'll start crying when something, and it's a spiritual connection because and what he said was so true. It's like, it's familiar. You can't even really articulate fully what it really means to you, but it just seems like it was something you were waiting to hear. And so I just wanted to tell you that you really you really say some really, really, really profound things that I think really touch the heart of me. I can't speak, I'm not going to interject. I'm sure it's true for other people, but it for sure is for me. It's like you say spiritual things for me. That's the best way I can describe it.
Well, there's probably no doubt God brought us together, Donna. for a very good reason. And all y'all, we're together for a very good reason, for sure. So I can hardly wait. Oh, Joyce, hello. I saw your little thumb up. You know, it's so great to be with you guys, and I'm so excited to see what this year has in store for us. I know great things are going to come out of it. So thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. And we got some work to do this weekend, and I'm excited about it. So let's get to work and have some fun and enjoy your weekend. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.